one of the faculty members who teaches this class, and you'll be introduced to our other faculty member who teaches the class in a moment. So again, set your screen to gallery view, and you should see that as an option in the upper right-hand corner of your Zoom screen. And if it says speaker view, you're already in gallery view. So that's good news. And then you want to hide those non-video participants by putting your cursor over the upper right-hand corner of another person's speaker box whose video is not on. So it would just be a black screen with a name. And then click on the button with the 3 dots on it and select hide non-video participants. And you should be only able to see people with their cameras on at this point. And theoretically, that's just me right now. We ask you to keep your mics and your cameras muted unless you're instructed to do otherwise. After the reading's over, we will have a short talk back with the playwright and the creative team about the play. So you'll have an opportunity to ask questions, make comments, etc., and we welcome all of that. So now I'm going to turn it over to Professor Tim Slover, who is the mastermind behind this course, and I'm just delighted to turn it over to him.
Hi, yes, thank you, Sydney. I don't think mastermind probably applies, but we're very, very pleased that you are with us for this staged reading. It's a little unusual to have a staged reading this way, but this is our 4th one, and I'm beginning to see the virtues of it. One of those virtues is that during the talk back afterwards, which is so essential to the development of these plays, you can participate either just by asking questions or by using the chat feature. Let me tell you a little bit about New Plays Workshop. It's kind of an essential ingredient, not kind of, it is an essential ingredient in the development of new plays. It happens all over the world wherever new plays are being written and getting ready for production, because the playwright can only go so far. And after that, she or he needs to turn that script, which is just a piece of paper when it comes down to it, over to flesh and blood designers, directors, and actors who, before they even go into production, will put this play on its feet. And so we take a whole semester, I think that's 14 weeks, to do that with new plays. First thing that happens is we get a bunch of talented people in the room. This year we have 17 people, all students, and those students are actors from the actor training program and the music theater program, but also from the theater studies program and from other majors. They form our creative core. Then we take each play and we read it quite rigorously in a roundtable kind of way and ask for comments and discussions. And then the playwrights go away and do their first rewrite. Then comes kind of the magical part, because that's when student directors and student stage managers and student production people and student dramaturgs, which is of course Sydney's excellent background, put the plays on their feet. And we explore in a theater space what it would be like if these plays were not just now on the page, but starting to be an actual theatrical text, which of course takes place in a performance space. As you can imagine, we were somewhat limited this year in doing that. That part of the process, I think, remains to be done for this play and for tomorrow night's play. But we still did we were able to do some very intensive table work. Now is your part. The audience, we've been waiting to add you as the essential ingredient for a long time. What do you think of this play? What do you think its strengths and weaknesses are? What do you think it's saying? What do you think it's about? All those are the kinds of things that we're interested in after we hear this. I'll tell you sort of just by way of announcement, this is a fairly short play, so there's no intermission in this play. We'll be going straight through. Also, this play actually addresses Alexa. Amazon Alexa. So if you happen to have an Amazon Alexa in your room where you're listening or watching this, you might want to disable it so that it won't answer when a character mentions it. Ben Stanford is our playwright tonight, and I want to tell you a little bit about Benjamin Stanford and give you a few thoughts to get you ready for this play. First thing to know about Ben is he's a really versatile playwright. In addition to writing this play, One-Sided, during last semester and this semester, he's also been collaborating on a musical. So he has a quite multi-talented sort of voice. I think you're going to be hearing Ben's voice a lot on stage over the years. So I'm really glad to be introducing that voice to you now. Ben has tapped into, with One-Sided, one of the greatest traditions of American playwriting. From Eugene O'Neill to Sam Shepard to Tracy Letts and Susan Laurie Parks. And that tradition is the interconnections of family drama. Think about Eugene O'Neill, think about Arthur Miller, think about Tennessee Williams. They take as their source material family. Like those playwrights, Ben asks us to consider the role intimacy plays in spousal relations and in parent-child relationships. What nourishes those ties of intimacy? What damages them and may even destroy them? One-Sided is also concerned with screens, sort of like we're all using now, computer screens, phone screens, TV monitors. The play asks, what is our fascination with screens doing to us? It's a good idea to pay attention to how many screens you hear about from the play's narrator tonight. When are characters interacting with screens more than with each other? Does what we can do with our screens now and what content comes to us through our screens, is it entirely a good thing? It enhances our lives. It can even enhance our relationships. It certainly gives us greater access to knowledge, but is there danger here too? Those are the questions being asked by One-Sided. It's my pleasure now for you to listen and watch Ben Stanford's One-Sided.
One-Sided, a play by Benjamin Stanford. Characters: Pearl, 43, university professor. Richard, 45, her husband, a lawyer. Janelle, 18, their daughter, a college freshman. Voice of reporter, voice of Himani Nayar, voice of sports announcer 1, voice of sports announcer 2, Amazon Alexa, voice of ad, voice of cook, voice of guest. One-Sided, scene 1. Pearl and Richard's house. It is comfortable and spacious. The front room and kitchen are one combined living space, and we have a clear view of both. The front door is downstage left with a coat rack on the wall, and upstage a kitchen island is decorated with a vase of flowers and a box of tissues. A couch, a coffee table, and 2 armchairs occupy much of the front room space. An Amazon Alexa sits on the shelf on the wall, glowing blue, along with some family photos. A work bag lies on the floor, leaning against the couch. A Starbucks coffee sits on the coffee table, nearby a closed Apple laptop. A hallway upstage leads to a bathroom, an office, and a closet. Downstage right is a doorway to a set of stairs, leading to an unseen second level to the house. There's an expensive flat-screen Apple TV in the front room facing away from the audience, perhaps part of the fourth wall and non-visible. It is on, and the audio from the TV is continuous. While we hear the TV audio, the following occurs. We hear a toilet flush and running water in a sink. Richard enters from the bedroom. He is dressed in professional work attire and having just washed his hands and face. He is zipping up his pants and tucking in his shirt, all while holding his phone. He wears an Apple Watch. He pockets the phone as he moves to the couch and sits, center, opening and working on his laptop. He sips his coffee, not paying much attention to the TV. He checks his Apple Watch and then reaches down to his bag and pulls out a few legal papers, laying them down around him. At some point, he checks his watch again. At another point, he becomes vaguely drawn to the TV.
To become significant, Joining us now from Michigan is one such researcher, PhD candidate Himani Nayar, who holds that as the younger generation takes the world stage, there are heavy concerns for the future. Mr. Nayar, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
To begin, Mr. Nayar, I'd like to ask you to explain the problem you see young adults facing today.
Of course. Well, first of all, the impact screens have on our love and intimacy is shocking, really. And the notion that our new way of life can't realistically or significantly weave its way into our basic biological needs is simply in left field. I mean, as the new American generation participates in less sex each year, and that is, of course, what we are finding, we also see a larger happiness gap, which is significant because we've, of course, already seen the same gap in technology use, and we know that an internet environment...
Yes. If I could just clarify, Mr. Nayar, with the happiness gap you're discussing? Just to slow down for our viewers, as I believe this is a fairly new term emerging out of your...
Richard changes the channel. As the TV audio continues, the following occurs. Richard's phone rings loudly. He moves his laptop to the coffee table, then gets his phone out of his pocket. He checks the caller ID, then reaches for the TV remote.
Absolutely ridiculous conclusion. After taking 4 offensive penalties in the last 6 minutes of the game, senior Kai Swenson still makes the catch and pulls out the win for Minnesota.
And if that isn't one of the cleanest catches we've...
Richard turns the TV off.
Hey, Brady, how's it going? Good. I'm good. Just getting ready for tomorrow. No, that's all right. Not a problem. What do you need? Uh-huh. Oh, really? No kidding. You know why? Oh, geez. I hope that doesn't last too long. Okay. Really? So, Saturday. Oh, no, right. Yeah, the travel time. Well, I would love, I mean, no, I'm quite honored. Well, my wife has this ceremony this weekend at the university. Yeah. You talked to Steph? Right.
The front door opens and Pearl enters, carrying her purse and a few bags of groceries.
Yeah. Half the firm is out
you
then.
are here. I called your... Oh, sorry.
Pearl shuts the door and moves to the kitchen with groceries. She then takes off her coat, hangs it up on the coat rack, and returns to the kitchen to put away the food.
Yeah, well, how soon would you... Uh-huh. Okay, for sure. I appreciate the opportunity. Let me look into it, and I'll let you know as soon as I can. Yeah, of course. Thanks for calling, Brady. I'll talk to you later.
He hangs up and sets the phone on the coffee table.
Richard, who was that?
Richard stands.
Hi, sorry. Work.
I called your office 5 times, I swear. You've been here?
Yeah, came home early today. I expected you home earlier, though. Oh, are there more of those in the car?
He goes to her at the kitchen island and gives her a quick kiss.
No, that's it. I would have been home much earlier, but things took forever at the store. First, I was trying to call Beth, but she wasn't picking up, and then your office.
Beth?
Oh,
Richard opens the box of crackers Pearl has bought and begins snacking.
Beth is David's wife. I was going to ask her if I could substitute honey for sugar in the cakes for Saturday night, but I wasn't sure it would work out as well. But then I thought, nobody will know the wiser, right?
That's probably true.
So I didn't buy any sugar, but I'm still second-guessing myself. Have you ever seen anyone do that?
Do what?
Substitute honey for sugar in a recipe. Does it work in a cake?
It beats me. I wouldn't know.
I really don't want to go to the store again.
Why are you the one always baking the cakes anyways? Can't you just buy some at the store?
I like doing it. Besides, it's a tradition.
She finishes putting the groceries away.
There's a cake tradition.
Of course. The baking and the decorating. Oh, that's right. You don't know because you've never been. Unbelievable. Really, though? I'm so excited for you finally to come this year.
Richard sets down the crackers.
Yeah, I actually do.
I mean,
Need
I've
to-
only been doing it for 4 years, and it's just one of those events to be involved in, and people have been asking to meet you every year.
Pearl gets herself a glass of water.
Well, actually, I do have to talk to you about that.
About what? The banquet?
Yeah. Brady called.
Oh, your boss? That's who you're on the phone with?
Yeah.
What did he say?
Well, one of our top lawyers got really sick yesterday. Parson. He's in the hospital. They don't really know what's wrong.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah. There's this big hearing happening in Florida on Saturday, and he was supposed to be representing the firm down there, and now he can't go. And now they want me to.
But we have the banquet.
Right. Yeah.
That's unfortunate timing.
Well, I thought that maybe...
You thought what?
I thought that maybe I should go.
You can't go. It's the banquet on Saturday.
Well, I know, but...
Can they send someone else, right?
Not really.
Not really?
Well, most of our lawyers are already booked with a massive conference happening downtown this weekend.
Okay, I'm sure someone is free. It's just a hearing, right?
No, it's a pretty serious hearing. It's related to those 6 client lawsuits a couple years ago. Remember that?
I think so.
It's just really important. Brady said that after learning what happened to Parson, Holloway specifically asked for me to go.
Richard, you've known about this banquet for several months.
I know.
You've missed it every year for work.
I know, honey. I'm not trying to. I'll go next year.
You already said that you'd finally go this year.
And I would love to, but this is a big deal for both me and the firm, and it reflects on my position if I say I can't go.
But it's so last minute. You don't have to say yes.
The head of the firm specifically requested me.
Oh, so that means you have to go?
Well, kind of.
So if you don't go, what happens? You don't get your paycheck?
What?
Do you have to go to Florida, Richard, or else they'll fire you?
Look, Pearl, I don't see how a banquet trumps this massive business opportunity.
Oh, there we go. That's what I thought.
What?
You don't have to go to Florida at all. You just prefer your career to my banquet.
No, Pearl.
Richard, I can see right through you. You do this every year.
Do what?
You're always finding something else to go do during big events of mine.
Pearl, I have a busy career.
I know, and that's usually why I let your excuses slide.
This isn't an excuse. I would have gone if this hadn't come up.
Of course, but every year it's the same problem. You back out of things.
Pearl,
Every year you have some reason to be somewhere else. And it's obviously not as important as Florida every time, so there's something else at play here. Am I wrong?
All right, Pearl, you're right. I could skip Florida, but I sure as hell don't want to just for a banquet.
Why not? What's so bad about a banquet?
You know I'm not a social person.
You've never even tried being social.
Of course I have.
Sure, except you rarely come out with me, Richard. You've hardly even met some of my best friends, not to mention my coworkers, Jayne, Morgan, the Fremonts.
Hey, I met Morgan once.
Once. Richard, I want you there at the banquet. I want you to actually meet my friends for once.
But I don't care about your friends.
Really?
Yes, really. I'm a lawyer. I care about my job.
Lawyers can be social.
Not on a professional level.
My friends are not your clients.
I know, but getting to know people when I'm only going to see them twice a year doesn't appeal to me.
Okay, maybe you wouldn't see them only twice a year if you got to know them.
That's not worth my time.
Then why'd you agree to go in the first place?
Because you've been nagging me about it every year and I wanted to make you happy.
At some point, Pearl moves to the front room with her purse where she sets it down on a nearby chair. Richard notices and follows, picking up his phone off the table and putting it in his back pocket.
So that was the only reason.
Pearl,
Don't you ever just want to get to know someone, learn about them, listen to them, even if it is just twice a year?
no, I really don't. Pearl, relationships with other people don't matter.
Of course they do.
They really don't.
What about your relationship with me?
Family is different, and you know that.
So Janelle and I are the only people that matter to you.
Pretty much. Yeah, in the long run.
That's not true. No, what about your clients?
I forget about my clients the second I get the paycheck.
But you're their lawyer. How can you just forget about them?
Because that's what makes an effective lawyer. You win more cases when you're not emotionally involved in every single one.
Doesn't it feel good to be emotionally involved, to have a connection with someone?
No, it doesn't. And there's way too many things going on in my life for me to become best friends with every client walking in my door, let alone every one of my wife's best friends at various social events every year.
You don't have to be best friends, Richard. They're just excited to meet you, and I'm just asking you to open up a little bit.
But it doesn't do anything. Developing acquaintances all the time, getting to know people. It's ridiculous.
How?
Because people just forget. It all fades away eventually, Pearl. And one day you're going to see that. In fact, do you remember John Beckstrand?
Your professor from Penn State?
Yeah, during my bachelor's.
What's he got to do with all of this?
Well, I ran into him at some summit conference 7 or 8 years ago, and get this. He didn't even know who I was.
Okay, and this is relevant how?
Because this guy was my favorite, Pearl. He was one of the only professors I had that got to know me. He didn't treat me like a number.
What does that mean?
It means I spent hours in the guy's office just talking to him. Hell, I took every class of his that I could fit into my schedule.
So
he didn't remember me. After all the time I spent with him.
you're talking about several years ago, Richard.
So what? People move on, Pearl, whether it's 1 year or 20. The way I see it, time is valuable, and it's not worth wasting on just anyone, even at some awards banquet.
Richard is now sitting. He picks up some of his papers.
I should be getting these statements sorted out.
I would have remembered you.
What?
If I was Beckstrand, I would have remembered you.
Well, yeah, but that's because you remember every single student.
And why do you think that is?
I don't know. I've never really understood that, actually.
Well, I make an effort.
Yeah, and most teachers meet the students 1 year and forget them the next.
Not me.
The way class sizes are getting bigger, it's not even hard for a teacher to forget.
Oh, it can be.
How? You only see them twice a week.
I just told you I put the effort in. I get to know them.
Yeah, and have you ever thought that sometimes you might get to know them just a little too much? You treat them like they're your own children.
As their teacher, I have an obligation to take care of them.
You bake cookies for every single one of their birthdays. That's an obligation?
Well, their other professors don't do things like that, Richard. Someone has to be there for them.
Sure, someone, but not you.
Why not me?
Because that's a job for their best friends, for their family.
What if they don't have family? It's just not always that simple, Richard.
Are you okay?
Yeah, it's just a student came to me after class yesterday. I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to tell you this.
What do you mean?
Well, they told me some issues that they were having in their life, really serious issues. And I had to explain to them that I'm a mandated reporter and that I have to turn them into the police.
Them? Or he?
Well, yeah, it was a he.
What did he do?
It's child pornography.
Oh, damn.
At least that's from what I heard, that's what it sounded like.
That's horrible.
I know. It was petrifying to listen to, and yet I still couldn't figure out how he could talk to me.
What do you mean?
I mean that this young man's parents aren't active in his life. He doesn't have any friends and family, like everyone else might, and you're right, I only see him 2 days a week, but seeing him inside my office, if not for me, who would that boy would have gone to, Richard? It's a terrible, dangerous thing he's involved in. Does he stand any chance of turning his life around if he doesn't even know anybody who will talk to him?
I still don't think that that's your responsibility. The kid's gonna have to find his way in life eventually.
It's not a responsibility. It's a choice.
Well, all right then. That's your choice. I really should be getting this work done.
Richard, are you coming to the banquet?
I don't know, Pearl. Why don't you just go with someone else?
Because you're my family.
Well, then take Janelle.
No,
Yeah, she'd love to go.
I told everyone you'd be there, Richard.
But you're always talking about how you never get to see her since school started. It'd be good for you. She could meet some more of your friends.
She now lives a couple of hours away. I don't think she'll be able to make it up so last minute.
Well, you don't know until you ask. And she can bring Tyson. Your friends haven't met Tyson, have they?
No.
Oh, even more reason.
Yes, but
It's an option, right?
so what I'm actually hearing is you won't ever be coming to this banquet, this year's or next year's or anyone after that. Is that right?
I don't know, Pearl. Regardless, I still have court tomorrow morning, and I'm supposed to get through these statements. I need to get this done.
I'm supposed to have started on the cakes. Otherwise, I won't get them done until tomorrow.
Richard starts picking up his things.
All right, well, you can start on that, and I can hibernate in my office for a while.
Richard, you can work right here. I'll be quiet.
Well, just if you wanted to watch a show or something.
I don't really want to.
Well, I'll probably focus better anyways. There's actually some audio files and evidence I've got to take a look at as well.
Richard finishes picking up his things. He moves towards his office down the hall.
What's the case on
Richard stops.
for tomorrow?
Date rape.
Oh,
Yeah.
you've worked with rape before, right?
I've never been on the defense. Get some baking done. I'll be out for dinner.
He goes into his office and shuts the door. Pearl goes to the kitchen and pulls out different baking ingredients. She stares at them, then pulls out her phone.
Where did I put those recipes? Why are there so many ads? Oh, here we go.
She sets down her phone and pulls out mixing bowls, measuring cups, a pot, and mixing spoons.
Oh, and dinner, right.
She preheats the oven and then pulls out an already prepared pan of shepherd's pie from the fridge.
So glad I made this already.
She returns to the island to start opening packages and measuring out cake ingredients, but stops and looks around. Too much silence. She checks her phone, then sets it down and starts to mix dry ingredients.
Alexa, What's the last show I watched on Netflix?
The last show you watched on Netflix was Mindhunter, Season 2, Episode 4, yesterday at 11:07 p.m. Would you like me to play Episode 5, Pearl?
What were you doing awake at 11 on a weeknight?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Would you like
No.
me to play Episode 2, Season 2, Episode
No.
5 of Mindhunter, Pearl?
No.
The Amazon Alexa's lights go off. Pearl sets her cooking things down and goes to the front coffee table where she picks up the TV remote and turns the TV on, immediately returning to the kitchen island with the remote and continuing to prepare dinner. As we hear the TV audio, the following occurs. The oven beeps and Pearl puts the pan of shepherd's pie in to cook, then goes to the fridge for more ingredients. There's a knock at the door. Pearl doesn't hear it over the TV.
Be absolutely sure of your child's safety and exposure while still allowing him to be part of many enabling and fantastic things the internet has to offer. But we're here to say the answer is one click away. GuardChild's reliability you can rely on. Just download your GuardChild 3-step software today, and you'll receive a free 1-year update plan on us. Still not ready to commit? Go right now to guardchildtoday.com and start your 30-day free trial to see how our 3-step customizable filtering system allows you to safely
Another knock at the door, louder this time.
and effectively restrict your child from the endless limit of.
Pearl wipes her hands and turns the TV off before moving to the door and opening it.
Janelle, hey! What a great surprise!
Pearl brings Janelle inside.
Come on in. It's so cold out. What are you doing here?
Pearl closes the door behind Janelle.
You did not have to knock. You have a key, right?
Yeah, it's not with me.
It's all right. Hey, is everything okay? You don't look very well. Here, let me take that.
She takes Janelle's coat and hangs it up on the coat rack.
Come on in, sit down. It's so good to see you.
She sits Janelle down on the front couch, then sits herself nearby.
So, sorry if I'm surprised. I didn't know you were coming, and it's a Thursday. Don't you have class tomorrow? Janelle, honey, what's wrong?
I'm just...
Would you like some coffee or something? I have your favorite brand. What's going on, baby? Has something happened? You look like you've had a really bad day.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Did you drive all this way just to talk?
No, I was up closer to here downtown to spend the day with Tyson.
Okay. How was that? Baby, what happened?
We broke up. Mom, I broke up with him.
Oh no, baby. I'm so sorry to hear that. Do you want to tell me about it? What happened? Can I ask? Didn't you just say last week you two were planning a trip to, where was it? Las Vegas?
No, he was. He was planning a trip to Las Vegas. That was his idea.
Sorry, I didn't mean.
No, I know. Sorry.
So you broke up with him?
Yeah.
He didn't want to then?
No.
So how did this happen so fast? You've been dating for 1.5 years.
I know, it wasn't working.
Janelle, this is a big deal.
Yeah, well, he doesn't want to finish school, Mom. He wants to move to Las Vegas.
Move?
Yeah.
Right now?
Yeah, he tried to get me to go with him.
Oh, so he was really thinking long term.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, you're in school right now, but you always used to tell us how much you wanted to move far away after college.
No, I don't, Mom. Not Las Vegas.
Why not?
Well, Tyson just wants to do
what?
just trade school stuff or something. I don't know.
Trade school.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Okay.
You don't think so?
I don't know.
Is that why you broke up with him? Janelle, we both know that you have a long history of overreacting in your relationships.
No, Mom, that's not it.
How come?
Because this is different.
Well, sure, but it's a good career. Honey, I feel like you've always broken up with guys over the smallest things.
This isn't a small thing.
Some people make a lot of money in trade industries, and I don't think you should try to buy into the bad stigma around it. Here's what I'm seeing. Tyson's looking at trade school in Las Vegas, and that seems crazy to you, coming from a family of academic graduates, and so you decide to end things. Isn't that just a little bit of an overreaction? Honey, the future can be scary, I get it. But you know my mantra. Relationships are worth putting effort into. You have to work to keep them alive. And if you just bail every time that something scares you, you're gonna—
I am scared.
I know, honey, but trade school is normal.
No, not of trade school.
Las Vegas?
No, of Tyson.
What? Janelle, Tyson's a wonderful guy. This doesn't change that. What's there to be afraid of?
A whole lot.
Well, that can't be true. Richard and I really enjoy having him around, and plus his entrepreneurial work, my volunteer, and that volunteer program he did with the, what was that company that he did?
I don't care about his stupid volunteer work, okay?
Janelle, I don't understand. You and Tyson have been dating for 1.5 years with no issues.
It wasn't with no issues, Mom.
But you've always told us that you're really—
No, but I've told you, and I was lying. I was lying, okay? Because the relationship was already going down the drain for months, Mom. I really thought sometimes I could work it out with him somehow, but now we're over, and I'm scared because he's— Mom, he filmed us. He filmed me.
What? Honey, did you say he filmed you? What does that mean?
Videos of us having sex, Mom. He never told me, and he filmed us having sex multiple times, and I'm pretty fucking sure he posted them on the internet. For all I know. He never even told me.
What? Tyson?
Yes, Tyson.
Tyson. Oh my God, Janelle, are you sure, honey? I mean, why would he be—
Because he's not as great as you think he is, okay? I am the one who puts the effort into the relationship. I drove 2 hours every week to see him, and he never even offered. But that's fine. Of course, I was willing to do that. But then we started arguing about his family, and before I knew it, he was just treating me really weird.
Really weird?
Treating me different romantically in bed. And I couldn't find any way to tell him how I felt, Mom. How could I have known any of it would lead to this?
Oh, Janelle.
He would be so aggressive sometimes, but that's normal, right? I mean, I don't know. Started to turn into weird, messed up fetish things, but I loved him. I thought it just turned him on, and who knows, at this rate, I guess it does, but I just took it, Mom. I took it because I'm an idiot who doesn't like hurting people's feelings, and
Well, oh my God, Janelle.
and let alone the fact that you've been telling me for years how I have to commit more to relationships. So instead, I just found a way to make that shit piece of a person fit into my life, trying to make you happy. And look what it's done. My entire future, fucked. But it's obvious Tyson doesn't care because you want to know what he's going to trade school, Mom? You want to know why he really wants to move to Las Vegas? He's starting as a porn actor. Can you believe that? A fucking porn actor? How could he keep that from me? He already has the job. He already agreed and he never even told me. He never told me or asked or cared or
Hey, Pearl, why is the TV so loud? Can you maybe turn it down?
Richard pokes his head out of his office, taking out one of his wireless earbuds he has in and holding his open laptop computer in the other hand.
I'm trying to... Janelle?
He sets his laptop and earbuds on the kitchen counter and comes into the front room.
Janelle, what are you doing here? Was that you guys yelling? Is everything okay?
Richard, call the police.
Pearl is moving to a cabinet drawer where she starts taking out a pen and paper.
Wait,
No.
what?
no, Dad. Please don't call the police.
Call the police.
Hold on. What the hell is going on? Janelle, what happened?
Richard, listen.
Did something happen?
Listen. Janelle's been abused. It was Tyson. It involves pornography.
Wait. What? Tyson? When?
Today, Richard, please call the police.
Oh my God. Are you okay?
Richard, please, we have to do something.
Okay, wait. What's pornography got to do with it? What kind of abuse?
He videotaped them having sex, Richard, and he posted the videos online. God, this is not happening.
Hey, what? Okay, Janelle, is this true?
We need to file a report and press charges. I'm trying to find the number.
Mom, if I wanted to call the police, I could have done so myself.
Pearl pulls out her phone and starts searching for something.
Hey, hold on. Tyson posted videos of you having sex online? Did you agree to that? I mean, what's going on?
Of course she didn't agree to it, Richard. Janelle has no idea that he was doing it.
Well,
Can you just...
I don't know if
Can you please just call
Actually,
the police to explain the situation that we can make sure?
Okay, how do you expect me to explain anything to anyone when I've got no idea what's going on? Can you calm down for a second and just let me get my bearings on the situation?
Pearl sits down.
I'm sorry. Just... Janelle, what exactly happened with Tyson?
I broke up with him. He's moving to Las Vegas to be a porn actor, and he wanted me to go with him.
Wow. Okay. And you learned all of that today?
Yeah.
That's a lot to take in. And you're okay? Look, I'm sorry, Janelle. This is scary for you.
Yeah.
So, Mom said something about filming? He filmed you?
Yeah.
Having sex?
Yes, Richard. He filmed them having sex without her consent. I already told you this. At the very least, it's a breach of privacy, right? You know this stuff. We have to press charges.
Now, just a moment, Pearl. We don't want to rush to any decisions here.
Rush decisions? Every minute we waste is another minute that those videos are in the hands of someone else?
Yes, but I need to hear the facts first.
Richard, we are not in court. You're not cross-examining the witness.
Look, I know, Pearl, but I'm trying to slow down a bit and
No,
just...
Richard, I don't want to slow down. Not when our own daughter's well-being is at stake. We're not letting that boy get away with this.
Pearl, we don't even know what happened.
We should be filing a report, getting a warrant out for the kid's arrest.
Mom!
Okay, arrest him for what? Hey, Pearl, listen to me. Legal situations like these are mayhem. If we're not careful, we'll end up wasting a whole lot of time and money in months of complications we never asked for.
I don't care if it drags out on for years and costs $1 million. This is porn we're talking about. She could be on the internet. We have to do something.
Okay, I'm trying to. Okay, Pearl,
We
I
need to
just
act
want.
somehow. Can we please do something to show her we care? Can we file a report or make a phone call?
We can do anything we want, Pearl, but it has to be effective. Geez, where's your amazing listening that you have with your students? Can't we just be with Janelle for a second? Listen, I'm sorry, but Janelle is terrified right now, and if we file a report or make a phone call, you want to know what comes flooding through the door? It's not going to be love. I guarantee it. No, what's going to come flooding through that door is the world's chaos. The officials, the news reporters, the media coverage, the questions, the interviews, the public humiliation, the unwanted attention. You think any of that is going to make her feel any better? It's no wonder Janelle doesn't want to call the police, right? We have to take this opportunity to sort things out right here, right now, in the safety of our own home. No outside pressure, no cameras, just Janelle here to tell us what's happened, to give us her unadulterated experience of the facts. And once we've seen the big picture, the true picture, then we can actually do something for Janelle. Right? Janelle, does that sound okay? Okay. Is that all right, Pearl? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes. I'm sorry. You're right. You're very right. I'm sorry. Janelle, I'm so sorry, honey. I'm just worried for you. I'm just so worried, and I need to calm down for a second. I love you so much.
Pearl is sitting.
Are you doing okay? Do you have anything you want to say?
No, I don't think so.
You're really scared.
Yes.
Can I ask you some more questions?
I guess, yeah.
Okay. So, you broke up with Tyson. He wants to go to Vegas to be a porn actor, and he filmed you having sex.
Yeah.
How many times did he film you?
I don't know. He just said a few times.
A few times.
Yeah.
Did he text you that? Say it over the phone?
Well, no. We talked.
So it was in person.
Yeah.
Where was this?
Downtown.
Today, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Was the sex consensual?
Yeah, of course. I just didn't know he was filming.
Right. You didn't know. And the relationship has been in good standing for what? A year and a half?
No. No, it hasn't.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't really been honest.
So there's been some red flags?
I mean, yeah, but not anything close to filming me.
Like what?
We've just been arguing a lot, and I mean, he was getting weird in bed.
Weird?
Yeah, he got more aggressive.
Oh, God.
I see. Okay. All right. So the relationship was getting bumpy. Have you seen the videos?
No, I told him to show me, and he wouldn't.
Well, that's expected. And he posted them on the internet?
Richard, she already said.
Let her answer, Pearl. Do you know where? What websites or platforms? Janelle, this is really important. Did Tyson post the videos to the internet or not?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Yes, I don't know. He didn't say, okay? He didn't say if he posted them, but he sure as hell mentioned the idea. And what if he did, huh? What if he did? What am I gonna do about it?
Honey, you're gonna be fine.
Fine? With my ex-boyfriend's sex life on the internet?
It might not be, Janelle. We can hope for the best.
He has them already. Tyson could post those videos anywhere, anytime he wants to. That's not exactly fine in my book, Mom. It doesn't matter what we do. He still has the videos. He has the power.
That's not necessarily true.
But it is. Don't you know how the internet works? Those videos will never go away.
Janelle, we don't know if
my life is ruined. Someone else has videos of me without my consent. Don't you get it? Videos. He's taken me. And now, for all I know, anyone else in the entire world can. Hundreds and thousands of people all looking at me without a care as to my situations or my feelings. Looking at me without a care to what it does to me. Tyson has the videos, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Honey, I'm so sorry.
Janelle, I know it seems hopeless, but there are things we can do about it. We're going to work through this.
Okay.
Richard, what are we gonna do?
I don't know yet exactly, but we have options.
Like what?
Well, if we're going to prosecute for violations of privacy and intentional harm, there's just too many vague legal situations out there already. So we'd need to highlight the abnormal aspects of the violations. The problem is that your testimony is just hearsay in court, unless we have proof. But finding the videos without too much trouble seems unlikely.
The internet is really large.
Literally enormous.
Yeah. Enormous. Finding anything is going to be difficult, unless we can get access to his devices. I'm not sure how likely that is either.
You mean like a warrant or something?
Yeah. Seizing belongings with reasonable allegations, but different states have different laws on things like non-consensual porn, and most porn laws in general tend to be pretty recent.
So we have some reading to do.
Yeah.
And what are we left with?
Enough, I think. There should be strong grounds for intrusion upon seclusion, but in order to really get to the bottom of things, we might have to first prosecute for a related offense. But that's a good starting point, and I definitely can look into it more this weekend.
He sits down by Janelle.
But no matter what, we're not doing anything without your approval, Janelle. We want to keep you safe. And once I've looked into the specifics, we can talk more about the options soon, all right? And your mom and I are always here. Really. I'm so glad you didn't wait to come talk to us about this tonight.
It'll be okay.
Thank you.
Why don't you spend the night here, huh? You can't go to class anyways tomorrow, let alone drive back.
Yeah. Okay.
Here, let me pull out some warm blankets.
Pearl goes to get a couple of blankets from the hall closet. Richard puts his arm around Janelle, and she shifts into his arms for an embrace. Pearl returns with a blanket.
There we go.
Now, you can use your old room, all right? I'll be up in a minute with some coffee.
Janelle stands and takes the blanket, then hugs her mother.
I love you so much, Janelle.
I love you too. Good night, Dad.
Good night, Janelle.
Janelle goes to the door upstairs, opens it, and then ascends out of sight. Pearl watches her, then shuts the door behind her.
Holy shit.
She sits down next to Richard.
Are you all right?
Yeah.
She lies her head on Richard's shoulder.
Wow, I need to relax for a second.
Yeah, I know. It'll be all right. I'll call some of my coworkers tomorrow, get their input. Do you want a drink? We still have that bottle of wine in the cupboard.
No, that's all right.
I'm just going to get some of my law books. Give me a second.
Richard exits to his office. He returns shortly with some books.
I've got to write some things down. Make sure I'm not forgetting anything before I start figuring out how to file a case.
He sets the books on the coffee table and sits back down on the couch.
Good idea.
Richard's phone rings.
Is that... Oh, that must be...
Brady?
Richard shuffles around to get his phone from his pocket.
Brady?
Yeah. He said he'd call back.
Richard is holding the phone. It rings.
Well, you can't go now.
Pearl, I don't know how I'm going to explain.
I know you'd rather go, Richard. I know. But Janelle needs you here. We both need you here.
The phone continues to ring.
Pearl, how do I even begin
What is
to...
that smell?
Shit.
Richard, the shepherd's pie.
Hello? Brady? Hi. Yeah.
Pearl runs to the oven where she pulls out the burned shepherd's pie.
Yeah, sorry. No, I should have called you back earlier. Well, actually, yeah, I think I'll be able to go. Yeah.
Richard!
Pearl returns quickly from the front area.
I have a lot to do, but yeah.
After what you said to me about family being different, you told Janelle that you'd help her this weekend.
Pearl, no, sorry, that's...
Richard, give me the phone.
Pearl, I'm really sorry, but I really don't think that...
Pearl snatches the phone from Richard and talks into it.
What the hell? Hey, Pearl!
Hi. Richard won't be able to go to Florida. Really sorry. I hope you find someone. Bye.
She hangs up quickly.
Damn it, Pearl. Give me the phone.
Jesus. I'm sorry.
Pearl, please, give me the phone.
Why? You're not calling him back.
I'm not going to. Just give me back my phone, please.
Richard.
Richard makes a grab for the phone, but Pearl swipes it aside.
Whoa, I said
Damn
you're
it.
not calling him back. You can live without your phone for a few minutes, Richard. It's not a big deal. Jeez.
Pearl?
What? Do you think I'm going to find one of your clients' social security's numbers on here or something? Richard, what is this?
What is what?
What the hell is this?
She shows Richard the phone.
Oh, shit. Holy shit. Okay, I don't know how that got there.
What?
Seriously, how did that pull up?
Are you?
I didn't touch it. I have no idea how that got on there.
What do you mean you have no idea how that got on there?
I mean exactly that. Did you tap on something?
Oh my God.
Give me the phone.
Do you think that I'm an idiot or something?
No, of course not. I'm just saying I don't know how that got on there.
Do you know what this is?
Yes, I know what that is, but I have no idea.
You cut the bullshit? There is porn on your phone.
Will you keep it down? Janelle is upstairs.
Porn doesn't just pop out of nowhere, Richard.
Yes, I know. I can explain.
Then explain.
Okay, I know. It was just an accident. I was on my phone earlier today and I couldn't get an ad to go away, so I
Bullshit. You are so full of bullshit, Richard.
Pearl, give me the phone.
How long?
Honey, come on. You don't really believe
How
that...
long has this been going on, Richard?
Pearl, okay. Look. It was just one time. I swear to God, Pearl, this was the only time. It was earlier today, but it's the only time it's ever happened.
Oh, it all makes sense.
No, hold on. What's going on here? It's just a stupid website.
You've always been so overprotective of your phone. You never let me
Pearl,
use your laptop.
no, Pearl, that's just who I am.
All right. So talking about how people have a right to privacy, you
Well,
use
they do.
client's privacy as an excuse.
Okay, well, can we just maybe...
How long? Tell me the truth, Richard. A week? A month?
Okay, so it's been like a week, but...
Oh, just a week. You've been hiding your passwords for me for years. I can't believe this.
Pearl, okay, I'm sorry, but don't we have something more important to deal with here?
I actually get it now. Why you never cared about this relationship.
Wait, Pearl, can we not do this right now?
Not do what?
Any of this whole conversation. Can we save this for later? If I'm not going to Florida, we should be focusing on helping Janelle.
Who says I want you helping Janelle?
What do you mean? Janelle's life has been turned upside down. We need to figure out what to do about this. What are you talking about? You said earlier that...
I know what I said, but things are different now, wouldn't you say?
No, nothing's different. I'm offering to stay this weekend and make sure Janelle stays safe.
You know, I trusted you. I trusted you with my love. But actually, what's more important? I trusted you with our daughter. And now I'm not sure I can do that.
Pearl, Janelle is priceless to me.
Except you get off on God's knows what's surfing around in porn land, right? The internet has a lot of terrible stuff, Richard. What about Janelle?
What?
What about your own daughter?
Are you fucking kidding me? How can you even think about something like that?
Oh, I don't know, Richard. I don't know what you watch. There's a lot of messed up shit out there. Why not revenge porn? Why not non-consensual porn?
This is ridiculous. Seriously?
I have no idea. All I know is it's been happening for a long time, and that's terrifying. And how can you love our daughter when that's what your life is? Richard, if you found Tyson's videos on some website tomorrow, what would you do?
That is a ludicrous question.
I don't think so.
None of this is anything like what you're thinking.
Isn't it?
No, it's not. Porn isn't what you think it is.
Yeah, like you would know.
I do know. I know you know nothing about porn. You're not the one who's experienced it.
Well, that's for sure.
So how can you act like you know exactly what it is? Porn doesn't affect people at all like you think it does.
Pearl tosses Richard's phone onto the couch.
Well, it doesn't matter, Richard. Because guess what? I know how addictions affect people.
It's not an addiction.
Of course it's an addiction. I've spent 7+ years studying human development. You don't think I know how addictions work?
It doesn't have to be. I'm certainly not addicted.
Oh, give me a break. You've been watching this
Besides,
stuff for
addictions
years.
can happen with anything. Like, I'm just using...
Using it for what? What could it possibly give you that I can't?
It's...
What could it possibly do that is so important?
No,
You
it's not
alone.
about you.
It's like you've cheated on me 10,000 times with...
No, I am not cheating on you, okay? It's not like that. Honey, lots of people watch porn. Practically everyone.
Well, that
I mean,
makes it
seriously,
okay.
we all know why browsers have an incognito mode, even if nobody talks about it.
Still a secret. It's
Besides,
still
it's
lying.
not harmful anyways. Porn is
Not
just...
harmful. Oh my God. Where have you been? Did you hear what just happened to Janelle and to say?
No. Janelle's case is different. I'm not filming anyone. It's just the people who do film it do it because they like it.
Oh, and what about Tyson?
No. Tyson is different. That's breaking the law. But porn stars, they can make a lot of money doing it.
Who cares about the money? Just because some porn is legal doesn't mean it's victimless.
Except it really is. It's a willful industry.
Bullshit. I don't think women even understand what they're getting themselves into, let alone could many of them be making a living doing it.
Sure, they actually can.
And isn't there a bunch of abuse too? And violence? What about all the promotion of male dominance and female submission? It's evil, Richard.
It's not evil, Pearl. You've got biased perceptions overlooking everything positive about it.
Oh yeah? Like what?
like just being used for sexual curiosity or just a way to explore your sexual identity. Couples watch it together as a part of their relationship. It can even be an outlet for stress. You know that, right? It can actually prevent sexual abuse and crime.
Okay, right. So your court case with this date rapist, what's wrong and terrible, but if you just watch date rape on a screen, that's healthy. Crime prevention?
What the hell? No, that's not what I said. Pearl!
You can't rape someone in real life, but watching someone getting pretend rape, it's all fine and dandy if it's just porn.
Why do you say it like that, huh? Why do you say it like it's a mistake? Why does everything have to be wrong? Can't people live how they want anymore? Can't we just enjoy ourselves sometimes without anyone being offended? Anything you do, somewhere, someone out there says it's wrong.
It is wrong.
Well, is there a piece of you that's wrong, Pearl? We all have a secret, some kind of guilty pleasure somewhere inside of us, but no one can show it because it's wrong. It's shameful. We teach people to bury it deep inside, but seriously? That's ridiculous. That's not what the world's like anymore. The internet is for everyone, for individuals to experience and explore and not be alone. And people say it's wrong to utilize that. Aren't I free to choose? Don't I get to choose my own rights and wrongs? People need to get over it. So what if I jerk off to fat, naked black people, huh?
Oh my God.
So what? No, I'm not kidding you.
Fucking kidding me?
I'm not kidding you because what the hell does it matter? And you know what else? It just so happens that I also watch BDSM porn, filth porn, tentacle porn, and oh yeah, even lesbian gangbang porn.
Oh
so what? I know you're not a fat black woman, Pearl. You're white and you're skinny, and I like that. Don't you get it? Porn doesn't change anything.
You are so fucking messed up.
Pearl tries to cross the room to get to her purse, but Richard puts himself in her way.
No, Pearl, just stop for a second, will you? I get it. Seriously, I know you think this is horrible stuff, but you have to understand, porn is a part of our modern world. It's just a part of life now, right? And if it's as bad as you say it is, why does everyone watch it?
Not everyone, Richard.
Okay. So now you're trying to tell me that you've never watched porn before? You've never watched any of that stuff I just said. I mean, really. You've never once half-wished you could have a sexual experience outside of me and what I am? And then you think everyone who does half-wish that is a bad person? You find another side to a human being, and that's it. Bam. Just like that, they're not worth it anymore. Everything that they've done and everything that they've stood for, all the love they've given their daughter, it's all for nothing. I'm a bad person now. Is that how it is? Whatever happened to your mantra about putting work into relationships?
Richard, I need to be alone for a minute.
Pearl, it's literally just videos of naked people. That's it.
I think I need to be alone, Richard. Please just give me a second to myself.
Pearl tries to cross again, but Richard once again stops her.
No, Pearl, please, I just need you to understand that I care about you, please. Look, if it's really that big a deal to you, I'll quit. I promise. If that's what you want, I swear to death, Pearl, I'll never watch porn again if you just understand that I love you. I always have.
Pearl pushes past Richard and goes to the kitchen to grab some tissues.
Pearl.
I'm sorry, I just need to clear my head for a second.
Where are you going? Look, honey, please, I'm offering to work things out. You have to see this for what it is. Like, our life, it's...
You know what? I do see it for what it is, Richard. It's a screen. It's a fucking one-sided goddamn screen.
Yes, it's a screen. And a screen isn't real life. A screen
It's not real life. It's a messed up fantasy. It affects real life. It becomes an integral part of your life. It can certainly ruin your life, but it's a fantasy. One girl, then the next. One video, then the next. It's a rush, isn't it? Having whatever you want at your sexual disposal and having to do absolutely nothing. You know, you're right. You have to put work into a relationship. But you want to know what a relationship is, Richard? It's a connection. It's two people mutually agreeing, two people that play off of one another. That's sex. That's love. Two separate human beings being each with their own feelings and each with their own faults. You have to understand the other person's emotions and desires. You have to communicate and accept what is wanted and what's not. As humans, you have to be enough for each other. That's what a relationship is, Richard, and you don't get that from a fucking screen.
Back in the front room, Pearl shoves past Richard one more time and goes to her purse, slinging it over her shoulder.
No, Pearl,
No, I'm going upstairs.
She stops.
I need a minute alone.
She looks at him. She crosses to the door to upstairs and exits, slamming the door behind her. Richard does nothing to try to stop her. The lights flicker. Pearl is standing where she was just 10 seconds ago. Richard hasn't moved.
Pearl, we can talk this through. It's not a big deal. I can quit looking at porn. Can't we both just sit down and...
She crosses and exits, slamming the door behind her. The lights flicker. Pearl is again standing where she was before she exited. Richard hasn't moved.
Pearl, we can talk this through. It's not a big deal. How about we just calm down and...
She begins to exit, but he grabs her arm. She pries herself away.
Leave me alone.
She exits, slamming the door behind her. The lights flicker. Pearl is standing in the same spot as before, but her mouth is duct taped shut. Richard hasn't moved.
Pearl, we can talk this through. You don't need to leave.
She begins to exit, but he grabs her arm and pulls her into his body.
Why don't we just lie down?
She slaps him hard across the face. She exits, slamming the door behind her. The lights flicker. Pearl is standing in the same spot. Her mouth is duct taped shut, and her hands are handcuffed in front of her. Richard hasn't moved.
Pearl, my love. It's all right. You don't need to leave.
He goes to bring her into his arms, but she kicks him hard. He falls down. Going to the door and opening it with great difficulty, she exits, slamming the door behind her. The lights flicker. Pearl is standing in the same spot. Her mouth is duct taped shut. Her hands are handcuffed in front of her, and her feet are tied together. Richard hasn't moved. He stands.
Pearl, love. There's no need to leave.
He goes to her. This time she makes no attempt to resist or get away. Slowly, he touches her, wrapping himself around her. He gropes her body. He is kissing her neck. As the lights begin to dim, both the cell phone on the couch and on Pearl's bag, Richard's laptop and his Apple Watch and the TV and the Amazon Alexa all begin to flicker, turning on and off. It gradually turns into a full-stage strobe effect. Suddenly, in a blackout, we hear a door slam. Scene 2. About a week later, evening. The house. It looks a bit musky. Richard is sitting on the couch, alone on stage. The food and cooking utensils have been cleared from the kitchen island and put away. And a vase of flowers is gone. The sink is full with one too many sets of dirty dishes. One of the family photos now sits on the coffee table in front of Richard, as well as a box of crackers, a plate with one slice of partially eaten cake on it, and an open can of beer. Richard's cell phone is next to him on the couch, and his laptop is closed nearby. His work things are strewn across one another in the front room chairs. Richard's cell phone rings. He answers it, putting it on speakerphone.
Hello?
Mom said she's coming by the house tomorrow at 5 p.m. to get the rest of her clothes. You'd better not be back from work by then because she doesn't want to see you.
She talked to you? Yeah. Yeah, okay. It's good to hear from you.
You want to know how old I was the first time I watched porn? 12 years old. Teenagers have to deal with that shit constantly. The shame, keeping it a secret, it's always there. The kids don't even know what they're getting themselves into. But you're my fucking dad.
Hey, I meant to tell you I picked something up for you while I was in Florida last week. I think you'll like it. Oh, and I think I also have some really good news on the case with Tyson. A coworker of mine was saying that. Hello?
Richard picks up the TV remote and turns on the TV. The audio from the TV is continuous.
Not worth it. I like to say that cooking is a habit just like any other.
Well, now he's found a habit of critiquing my cooking. He especially likes substitutions, always trying to get me to find a healthy way to alter the recipe.
Richard reaches over and picks up the plate of cake, staring at it. He sets it back down.
Actually, I'm glad you mentioned that because that's been a big deal to me over my career, and it's actually really applicable to this recipe. I said it on the show before, but I think we underestimate originality. In this recipe, for example, a lot of people would try to substitute honey for sugar. You've seen that, right? It's all over the internet.
Oh, yes.
But it's a cake, for crying out loud. It's supposed to have sugar, and baking is chemistry. It's a bunch of carefully planned reactions and combinations that you just can't mess around with like you can beef stew.
Well, the thing is, honey can seem like a healthy alternative. After all, it's more natural, right? That's what my husband would say.
Richard picks up the family photo and stares at it.
Right? It feels less processed, and there's generally some truth to that, obviously. But honey can be a little more expensive, too. I guess it's just sad to me that authenticity is going down the drain in so many classic recipes these days. We underestimate it.
Richard sets the picture down, then grabs the TV remote.
Ooh, but there we go. On that note, that's our 14-minute timer telling us the baking break is over, which means that we are ready to add our beautiful golden glaze to...
Richard turns the TV off. The lights slowly fade to a blackout, except for the laptop screen illuminating his face. End of play.
All right. So if we could just have Ben and Keira turn on their cameras, we'll get started with our talk back here. Perfect. So just to, real quick, let's give a round of applause to Ben. And as far as our talk back goes tonight, I got a couple questions to ask both Ben and Keira, as well as you, the audience. And if you have any questions as well, feel free to submit them down in the chat, and we'll kind of keep an eye on that as well. So to get things started tonight, wanted to first ask you a question, Ben. Wondering if you would like to just talk about what sort of inspired you to write this play now?
So I started working on sort of a monologue on pornography about a year and a half ago for actually a non-theater class. So I wrote this in the program, but you know, it's been a part of my life, like I think it's been a part of a lot of people's lives for you know, ever since I became a teenager, probably, right? And so it's a lot of thoughts of mine that have built up, but to actually write was just a year and a half ago, and then I wrote this monologue of Richard, and I don't know if that was his name, but I wrote this monologue that and it was a completely different character, but it was a male character that was defending their pornography addiction, and that was what this monologue was about. And then after writing that, and I performed it for a class other than theater, and then I finished that, and I thought, you know, there's way more thoughts here that I have, and way more to explore here that you can't even get close to in a monologue. So I finally started working on a show, or just a short play of it for a class of Tim Slover's, and then once that had been developed, it was only like 20 pages or something. It was like 25 pages maybe. And then we workshopped it for this class, and it got much longer. So, but part of your question was why now is sort of part of your question there too. And why now is because no generation has ever dealt with porn like our generation has. And, you know, whether that's, I don't know, like with Richard, who's 40 something years old, even for people that age, it's a new thing. Like, they didn't grow up with a cell phone in their pocket, and a 43-year-old has, you know, that's different. They've never had that. And I guess the other thing I'll say is, this is like, you would never know this just watching the play, but I picked, originally Richard was like 36 or something, which is the average age of male porn users. So it's 43 is not far off from people who watch porn today. I mean, it's not out there, which in some of my research sort of surprised me, right? Anyway, so that's why now, and sort of the background on it, I guess.
Cool.
So I guess the next question we have, I guess for Ben and Keira too, is what was it like getting to work in a collaborative setting, developing this play for you both?
Keira should answer that first, maybe. I don't know, her screen is frozen here. There you go.
Yeah, I'm pretty laggy, so hang in there with me. Collaborating on this play was interesting. I think that there's not enough plays that talk about this. I think it's something that we as a society don't talk about a lot. So I was very grateful for Ben to approach something like this. I think this play has a lot in terms of like what people are going to think about in the car ride home. So in that way, I think it's not only a collaboration between actors, directors, playwrights, but with the audience to approach like delivering the story in a way that the audience can give their opinion and meet them where they're at on a lot of stuff. So I thought about that a lot, is how text, how the story could be people and taking information.
It was great to get the classes and different students and partners to sort of hear their perspective on porn was really nice. And also we didn't get a lot of actual work in class to put this up because of COVID-19. But it was great to have all this input, because as a playwright, you just get so in your head about how the show is written and what things you want to write and how the characters are. And you get really you get these ideas that are just like, this is how it is, this is how it is. And it helps to talk to other people and realize that there's a million ideas you never considered. And it's easy to throw out those ideas, at least for me as a playwright. If you're not careful while you're working, you start to just get, this is what it is. And opening it up just gives a world of possibilities to what the play can actually be. So anyway, I saw Michael here. He turned on his camera for a second. Michael's a friend of mine. I'd kind of be interested in what he has to say. So Michael, if you want to post it in the chat or something, I'm actually really interested. Anyways, you can continue.
Cool. Let's see.
I was unsure about how we're supposed to participate here.
Oh, you're welcome to.
Kind of like a little test for us old people.
No, you're welcome to talk to us right live if you have a comment.
Well, my comments are jaded by the fact that I know you.
That's true.
So I found that I was just curious that the whole Kim Kardashian effect didn't have an influence in the play, because she became famous because of hers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so what that touches on is sort of this idea that I still have, which is that I feel like there's a million thoughts I haven't put into the play. Like, that's how frustrating this topic was to write on, because I felt like there were so many things that are going on with such a vast topic. How could I possibly ever touch on anything?
Well, that's what my thought was. How can you take all of that and put it into one play? It's so grand for a topic, especially now with the 50 Shades of Grey and all these things that are so easily accessed, and people, looking at each other's passwords and finding out secrets about each other. It's very important. And I know in particular in our area that they were trying to pass some legislation about the regulation of porn. So I thought that it was kind of really relevant for what's going on now in our area.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. Yeah, no, it's very relevant. And that's sort of why, as a playwright and workshopping it, you sort of have to decide exactly what something specific you want to focus in on. Because while it works in some cases, I find that it's not generally that productive to try to shove an entire world of something so vast and complex into try to capture it all. So, ultimately I had to choose to focus on, a single relationship of a straight couple in a specific household with a single daughter. Like, that's, I just have to focus on that. But there's so many things that, like, I can't tell you the number of times since, each draft would happen, and I couldn't tell you the number of times I'd think of something or read an article or whatever it was that was like, oh, here's more stuff that, like, I haven't even thought of. So anyways, but
still how little, like, 'cause, yeah, you have like 50 Shades of Grey and all the positive stuff. I think it speaks to how little they talk about the negative effects of pornography in media. And so we have this one play, the only play I've ever seen that talks about the negative effects. So we wanted to be about everything. And I think that focusing in this one family and this one thing opens it up for people to focus on other aspects of how it can affect and other relationships it can affect and that kind of thing. So I think that just speaks to how really little about this subject.
Cool. I was going to ask a couple questions for the audience now. So in terms of just getting some feedback for Ben, for anyone who watched, was Janelle's relationship with her parents clear to you throughout the play? And if not, like, were there any moments in particular where you found it to be confusing?
while people think about that, we have some other questions in the chat.
Yeah, so we'll take, let's see, Bryn's question first. So Bryn has asked, what prompted the change in this draft from Tyson and Janelle's relationship being good leading up to this moment to now in this current draft being rocky leading up to this point that we see in the play?
That's a fantastic question, Bryn. I know the precise answer because I remember the moment when we were workshopping and discussing it, and we decided, and that was an idea that came up that would better help the plot. The reason, the central reason it came up was because it was hard to believe. We needed some sort of background on the relationship between Pearl and Janelle. We needed Janelle's relationship with her mother to deepen, and we needed to have something to latch onto there as an audience before we just kind of got what was happening now. But with the addition of Janelle has been lying to her parents about this. Janelle hasn't been truthful about this relationship. First of all, it helps the plausibility of what Tyson's doing because it seems so out of the blue, but when we add this rockiness to the relationship, it makes sense that, oh, well, he was getting weird in bed and, you know, she didn't want to tell her parents because Pearl always tells her to put work into relationships. So I guess I just won't tell her that it's going downhill. And then suddenly we latch on to a piece of the past of these characters. We get the sense that, you know, we know more about them when these lines come out. Janelle's been lying for a year and a half or however long it's been going downhill. And Tyson wasn't the greatest, you know, because before it was like Tyson was a perfect boyfriend until today. And now it's like, oh, wait a second, there were some questionable things. So, this never made it into the draft. I never really had time to fully flesh out this thought. But at one point we were discussing what if Tyson's sort of aggressiveness in bed, is partially the reason he's filming. That's in addition, like the filming idea came to him and then the aggression came to him kind of thing. That's not really about in the script very much, but it's definitely something we thought about. Anyway, so there's a lot of stuff there, but great question, Bryn.
Perfect. So we have some more questions. Otherwise, if you as an audience have any questions and want to ask them, feel free to turn your mic on and shout them out. Otherwise, for the audience too, if you have any response to the question of, like, throughout the play, were there any moments that you either found shocked you or surprised you or had that element in it? You can either type in the chat or say it out.
I don't know how much time we have here, but this is a pretty short play, so maybe we have more time. I'm just reading the chat. Isabel,
question.
Yeah, Isabel is my very lovely fiance. Were you nervous to present a show with such a sensitive topic? No, unless it was going to make people uncomfortable. I didn't want to make anybody uncomfortable, so I hoped that nobody would start watching and be like, oh, I don't want to watch this. Other than that, no, I think it's important to face topics like this. One of the things I love about theater is that, yes, you can get up and walk out anytime you want, and yet there's something about it that sort of forces audience members to face something, to be in their chair and experience a story, whether they like it or not, whether it's beautiful or lovely or dark or whatever it is. We see this piece of human experience or whatever it is on stage, and we have to think about it. So I think that's a great part of theater. So I hoped that I wouldn't miss out on that. I wanted to just get people to think about something that, in some ways, I wanted to get people to think about something they never really care to think about, other than alone. So, while alone. So anyway, yeah.
Totally. Something that was just put in the chat too was Isabel Horner was wondering how Janelle's relationship was with her parents when they were first talking with her and Pearl. It seemed like they weren't very close, and she was having a hard time communicating. But then once she dropped the ball, she had the moment of realization or shock factor where it was like, wow, that must be so hard for a daughter to tell her mother. So, I mean, do you guys have any thoughts on that or anything?
Keira could talk to that, I think.
I thought that it was really difficult and it's unfair to judge that relationship because of the way that we saw it. That intensity of a mother-daughter relationship would be apparent automatically when you saw them together. So I think it's really hard to judge that from my perspective.
What do you think, Keira?
Yeah, we talked a lot about how complex Janelle and Pearl's relationship was, and like pretty much every daughter and their mother has a really complicated relationship, but I think Janelle and Pearl specifically, yeah, I mean, like that, we talked a lot about how me and Shelice, who played Janelle, how the phone call should be in contrast to how she talks to Janelle and how she talks to Richard in person, and then the phone call is the first time we hear her talk, and after everything that happened. Yeah, I feel like I'm not getting the whole question, but I really understand it's really complex, because I think the relationships between daughters and mothers are really complex. But I don't think it has to do with them not being close. I think that would have come from being a show. And like Sydney said, how would you stage this as a full production? And in my head, the spacing and the way that the characters interact physically with each other would help support the text and support the disconnection that I feel like the text is trying to get at through the effects of porn on relationships. I think Pearl would be more affectionately loving, like, you know, and communication is 70% body language, and I think we underestimate what that can mean for us visually and auditory. So that makes sense that in a staged reading like this, that their relationship came across as not close. But seeing it, being in a room where people have read it and I see them physically acting like they're close, I think that would solve it if this was like a 3D theater production.
I'll also say that I think that they are perhaps closer than some people may have seen today, but also clearly not close enough to be honest for 6 months or a year with the relationship, like I was saying. So there's definitely a disconnect there, and definitely we talked about in the workshop about how hard this would be for a daughter to tell their parents. And in fact, some kids would never tell them. They would. I know many people I've known, and perhaps myself, that would have a really difficult time telling that to anybody or facing that. So anyway.
Cool. Go back a little ways up in the chat. Tim had a question. He asked, is there a connection between Richard and Pearl's argument about going to the awards banquet and the revelation of Richard's porn habit?
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know like how clean cut that connection is, but I think there's certainly a connection. Hopefully as the play presents with sort of Richard's opinions on relationships and what they mean. And he assures Pearl that their relationship is very important, but that relationships with everybody else don't really do anything in the world, and they don't do anything for him. And that's all the awards banquet. And when this porn comes out to Pearl, it's suddenly a realization of what this porn could have influenced. We don't know necessarily. The play does not just explicitly come out and be like, okay, Richard was Richard, then he started watching porn. Now he doesn't care about relationships because porn ruined that. It's a tick in in Pearl's mind, right? Wait a second, what, you know, this is different now. I've been trusting you with my daughter. I'm not sure. I mean, she says lines like this, right? I don't know what you watch, but for all I know, it could be affecting this. It could be X, Y, Z. And so there's absolutely a connection between his not wanting to go to a banquet, which is very simple, and his sort of his attitudes toward relationships and his relationship with Pearl. And that's obviously, hopefully comes out in some cases. So anyway.
Great. Let's see here.
I can answer, sorry, this is quick. Susan Stoddard-Heiner asked, gave me a wonderful compliment, thank you. And do you have plans to continue development? I have lots of other projects I'm working on, so can't say it's gonna be developed in the next year, probably, but certainly in my back pocket. Certainly a play that I would continue thinking about, or at least the topic in general. I would consider just sort of new ideas on the topic as well. But anyway, absolutely. Sorry, go to help to wherever you want.
Perfect. I think we have time for maybe about one or two more questions. So let me scroll through this chat really fast to see if there were any I missed. Something, just a comment that somebody had too was about the flickering too of the lights at the end.
I wanted to comment upon, you know, one of the things I really like about the way Ben writes and the way he sees things is his flow of dialogue is just incredible for somebody, I think, as being so young. But I followed the way that he writes and the in-betweens, the way the narrator wrote them. There was really a very strong visual for me in the way that he writes and the flow of that thing. And I really enjoyed that about the piece.
Thank you, Michael.
Totally. Something that Joseph Stanford questioned was the relationship between Pearl and Janelle seemed clear. The relationship between Richard and Janelle wasn't quite as clear to me. If Richard was kind of taking Pearl for granted, was it the same for Janelle? It's hard to tell in the middle of this crisis situation. So, Ben, do you have any thoughts on like the relationships and like taking each other for granted, etc.?
It's a good point. Probably something I need to think about further if I were to revise some more. Keira has a comment. She's going to say something better than what I would have said.
Well, no, I mean, even if you don't change it, like I think as a director, and maybe this changes director from director, but I think everything in this play, if you want the golden nugget to be that porn negatively affects your relationships, everything in this play that has to do with relationships or Richard being a person has to come back and like support that thesis. So I think that the relationship between Richard and Janelle not being clear or having like two different opinions, like you think you know what it is and then it's another thing. I think that all goes back to how he's so disconnected from people, and that he tries to fix that by seeming connected. Like I think it all comes back to the porn, and I think that ambiguity of the relationship feeds into that. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, I think I was going to say something. I forgot what I was going to say. I'll come back in if I need to.
So I have something to say. Is that okay, Ben?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I'm Ben's mom, and so when I saw that there, I saw myself and my husband right there in those characters, because I'm the one that's all about relationships, and here my husband's a college professor too, so that, you know, this academic thing, and then my husband is kind of the one in his brain, he's the one that thinks more, and I could see myself in that, and I could see that Pearl had good things and bad things about her. I mean, so she's worried about it, she's concerned about relationships, she wants relationships, that's important to her, and yet she, you know, when she finds out about Janelle's problem, she gets flighty, she gets And that so describes my husband and I. That's what happened, isn't it, Ben? I'm the one that this has to, get all, upset, and we have to do this. And my husband is the calm one. And even Richard is not all one-sided. He has his good points too. He actually deals with that in a more calm manner.
It was important to me. I'll jump in. It was important to me, actually, and this goes back on my thought that I missed for the other question. It was actually important to me, not in the first draft, but later when we workshopped it and the drafts got progressed. It was important to me that Janelle was comforted by Richard, and that Richard truly did care about Janelle and truly did sort of not like, who knows about taking for granted, but that there was an effect there to say, no, like this guy is actually doing good things for his daughter. He knew what to do. If it wasn't for him, Pearl would have called the police and we would have gotten all that chaos, and Janelle probably would have felt worse. Pearl wasn't successful at helping Janelle, and Richard is. And that was actually a really strong point that didn't come up until we revised the script. But it gives more of a reason to wonder if porn is a reason to just throw all that, all that help and love that he gives to Janelle. Is that a good reason? Anyway, sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah. So, and then there was one other thing, and that is that the one place, it was really painful actually to watch all that, just the pain of all that. And at one point I did start to cry because I know how Pearl feels. Relationships are hard. Relationships are hard. But the thing I remember totally is what she said, is that you are having a relationship with a screen, and that is one-sided. And that's the whole name of your play, one-sided. And that hit me, because that's what people say about porn, is that, oh, it's okay, but it's one-sided. And she was proof. And that's why you did have to have that whole conversation at the beginning of whether he would cancel and go to her banquet, because it's that whole thing about relationships. And with a screen, you can't have a relationship with a screen because it's one-sided. So I thought it was a great job, Ben. It was.
Thank you,
it made me cry.
Everything you just said is let the records show. This was my mother, so let's not get too. But it's still a compliment. I'll take it.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for sticking around for our talk back. We appreciate all the feedback, and we'd love to have you join us. We have one more of these readings tomorrow night at 6 p.m. as well. So if you're available, we'd love to have you join us for I Like Beer by Jayne Moyes. Thank you all. Have a great night.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for coming.